We know that Rudy Giuliani has been wrapped up with some really shady characters, but take a look at how shady monetarily some of them are. We have new charges against Andrei Muravyev, a Russian oligarch who apparently donated or transferred a ton of money to a couple of his accomplices and some of what Giuliani got involved in, and we're gonna give you all the details. Andrei is accused of conspiring with Lev Parnas and Igor Fruman to secure retail marijuana licenses by funneling $1 million to political candidates in 2018, according to an indictment unsealed on Monday. The oligarch agreed to provide $1 million to fund hundreds of thousands of dollars in state and federal political donations in Florida, Nevada, Texas, New York, and New Jersey leading up to the November 2018 elections. And so this is quite a bit of money, not in terms of like you're not gonna be able to swamp the overall spending of the 2018 cycle, but to influence people on a specific issue, $1 million spread around the right way, that might be able to do it. And obviously the Russian oligarch can't do that directly. They can't make those sorts of donations, but they've got these Parnas and Fruman who can do it for them. And it's particularly insidious. On a topic, by the way, like marijuana, like legalization, I'm in favor of, but I want the fundraising for it, the actual campaign spending for it to be done the right way. Jessica, what do you think?
I think this is ridiculous, right? Like Rudy Giuliani, I feel is almost a case study of a person. If we were to remove morals and values, what would happen? It's ridiculous because during the presidential campaign, of course, he was involved with Russian oligarchs and digging up dirt on Biden, and that like almost made a little bit of sense. Okay, like you're working for this campaign, you're a terribly corrupt individual, but you're trying to make your candidate win. Now it's just doing favors for Russian oligarchs. It's absolutely insane.
Yeah. Well, by the way, in a couple of minutes, we're going to turn to Giuliani's ongoing involvement in some of this. But right now, Muravyev is facing up to 10 years in prison if convicted on both counts around that. Especially because there was a number of different efforts to, you're not going to be surprised to find out, muddle where exactly the money was coming from, where it was going, what it was going to be used for, and all that. Parnas and Fruman were arrested in connection with the scheme back in October 2019. Parnas was convicted last October. Fruman pleaded guilty last year. And so again, as in some of the earlier stories we were talking about, it can take a very long time to adjudicate some of this. In any event, the US attorney who's still pursuing this says that Muravyev attempted to corrupt our political system to advance his business interests. The Southern District of New York is committed to rooting out efforts by foreigners to interfere with our elections. Although again, to be clear, not just in New York, they were spreading around a number of the large states that either had already or were considering different sorts of marijuana legalization. Jessica, what do you think?
Yeah, I think the fact that it's about marijuana legalization is so interesting. This is not what I would imagine Russian oligarchs would be interested in American politics. But it's clear that they just see a huge business opportunity, and that's why they're doing this.
Yeah, I definitely think it's a new industry. I think in theory, long term, there can be a lot of money to be made there. I think it's one of the fears that people have about this topic more generally is that like there's been this effort for decades to get legalization, and already you're seeing corporations and rich individuals like reaping the benefits, like jumping in and starting up the companies and all that. It like the sorts of people who were victimized and demonized by the fact that marijuana was illegal for so long are already monetarily being pushed out in a lot of states, and that's why the way that legalization is done, the terms of it, what you need to do to be able to get a license to sell, there's some fairly significant financial hurdles in that in a number of different states on the purchasing end as well. I can attest to myself, and that is why like we want legalization. And in some ways, any legalization is better than the status quo, but the way that it's done definitely matters. And I think it's important that we don't take like the current state as just acceptable forever. Like in California, for instance, marijuana is legal, but there are massive extra taxes and fines and all that make it far more expensive. It is difficult in most states if you're one of the owners of one of these companies to use the banking system. It's just like we have this starting off point, but I feel like there's a lot that can still be done. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, we've got to expunge records. We've got to release people who are currently in prison on drug offenses related to marijuana. I mean, that's number 1 and 2 when we talk about legalization, but also having some kind of incentive structure that favors people who are at the brunt of having marijuana being illegal, who are in jail from selling this stuff and using this stuff or just carrying it. I mean, we've got to let them reap the benefits more than like these white venture capitalists or even Russian oligarchs.
Exactly. Yeah, at the very least, can they be our oligarchs rather than Russian ones? No, I don't really care. But anyway, returning to Rudy Giuliani, he remains under criminal investigation as authorities decide whether his interactions with Ukraine officials required him to register as a foreign agent. And his involvement with Parnas and Fruman, of course, isn't helping him in that area. Again, it's several years ago. One would hope that we would at least know by this point if there's going to be any legal consequences. He's not acting as if he really fears it. Where do you see Rudy Giuliani going from here? Do you think it's likely that they're going to charge him with anything? If Trump does make it back in, is he dragging Giuliani to the White House once again? What do you think?
I'd really like to see us get Giuliani on something. I think like one of the weirdest things about this is even if things go to court, you never know what kind of judge you're gonna get on this stuff. And I think Giuliani's probably the person in American politics who is really difficult to predict. It feels like he will do anything.
Yeah, well, there's certainly no low. And that's one of the reasons that it's so easy to imagine a variety of different crimes being committed. I mean, it's easy to forget with the whole Ukraine blackmail investigation, Hunter Biden thing. Like, we focus on Trump, and I understand why. He was the one who ended up getting impeached over it. But Giuliani was so integral to that entire effort. And he didn't even get the minor consequences that Trump did. Like, Trump wasn't really hurt by the impeachment or whatever, but at least it's a black mark on his record. Giuliani just skated through. Totally fine. I guess he didn't do anything wrong, or at least that's what the Southern District would have you believe as of right now. The investigation is ongoing, not exactly holding my breath.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.